I'm Ned Jarrett. From Papyrus, this is NASCAR Racing.
NASCAR broke into the gaming world with Richard Petty's Talladega, which was developed by the Cosmi Corporation and produced by Electronic Arts. The game was released originally for Atari in 1984, and the following year saw the game on the Commodore 64 platform. The format of the game saw players race against Petty and up to 18 other drivers, with speeds up to 294 miles per hour when using a turbo boost. The race ended when a driver either ran out of gas, crashed, blew a tire, or completed the duration of the race.
The hype behind major motion picture Days of Thunder led to a NASCAR-style simulation game in 1990. It was developed by Argonaut Software and produced by the Mindscape Group. It was available on multiple platforms including PC, Atari, Game Boy, and the Nintendo Entertainment System. The game was more realistic to a NASCAR event, with players able to set the car up, qualify, and race. A good finish would move the player on to the following race. Cars could also become damaged after contact. The dashboard on the car appeared cracked when this would occur.
April 1991 saw Bill Elliott's NASCAR Challenge released by Distinctive Software and Konami for the Nintendo Entertainment System and the Macintosh. This game is embedded in history as the first to obtain a NASCAR license. This allowed Bill Elliott to be in the game along with a bunch of real tracks. The likeness of the game mirrored that of an actual NASCAR event, with players able to race for a championship with race distances between 10 to 500 miles. The developer of the game held a contest to win tickets to the 1992 Daytona 500 with the chance to meet Awesome Bill. To enter, players sent a photo of their final championship score amongst other settings.
NASCAR games broke out in late 1994 with NASCAR Racing by the Papyrus Design Group on the computer. The single or multiplayer game featured more than 25 Winston Cup drivers, with a few major exceptions. Eventual 1994 champion Dale Earnhardt, as well as Bill Elliott, Dale Jarrett, Kyle Petty, and Darrell Waltrip were not included in the game. Players could race in a field as large as 38 cars or 32 on short tracks. Players could adjust many aspects of their car, including the tire pressure, fuel capacity, gear ratios, and more. The graphics were of a higher quality, making the cars and tracks heavily noticeable and distinct. It also featured an instant replay system, allowing players to watch their hard battles or disappointing accidents. The game cost $59.95, but that did not stop people from buying it, as over 350,000 copies were sold in the first year alone.
Kyle Petty's No Fear Racing was released in April of 1995 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Players were able to compete against each other in either a single race or a championship season mode. They were also able to create their own custom decals, track layouts, and personalized songs for their created tracks. The game, which was developed by the Leland Interactive Media and produced by Williams Entertainment, did not feature Petty or any real NASCAR tracks.
The first sequel to a NASCAR sim game came in December 1996 with the release of NASCAR Racing 2 by Papyrus and Sierra Online. The game, which was again released solely for computers, saw improved aspects all around the gaming experience. This time the game featured Dale Earnhardt, whose black number 3 appeared on the cover racing with Terry Labonte, Jeff Gordon, Johnny Benson Jr., and Ricky Rudd. Players could scroll through and read about their favorite drivers as a picture of the driver and their digital car appeared on the screen. It also featured a detail shop which allowed players to edit the paint schemes on the game and create their own. A Grand National Series expansion pack featuring Randy LaJoie, Jason Keller, and Kevin LePage on the cover was eventually released as well. This added the ability to race in the Busch Grand National Series for the first time. 10 extra tracks unique to the series were also part of the expansion pack, allowing drivers to race at tracks such as Nazareth, Indianapolis Raceway Park, Hickory, and more. The game was so impressive that it was a finalist for Computer Gaming World's Sports Game of the Year, but lost out to NBA Live 1997.
As PlayStation and Sega started taking off in the mid-90s, it was only natural that NASCAR would soon expand to those systems as well. NASCAR 98 was released in late 1997 by Stormfront Studios and EA Sports. 24 NASCAR drivers, 10 real tracks, and 6 fantasy tracks were included in the game. Players could race with up to 24 drivers in a field by themselves or in an 8-car shootout with a friend in multiplayer mode. The game included a replay system and a limited damage module. NASCAR 99 was released in September of 1998 for PlayStation and Nintendo 64. It featured 31 current Winston Cup drivers and 6 legends. 7 more tracks were added to the game from the previous version. Papyrus and Sierra returned with NASCAR Racing 1999 edition in 1998 in rousing fashion. The game mirrored most of the settings as NASCAR Racing 2, but featured the Winston Cup, Busch Grand National, and Craftsman Truck Series drivers and cars in the game. It also featured the tracks from those series as well. Players could race with up to 39 vehicles per race. They backed up their masterpiece with NASCAR Racing 3 in August of 1999. The game featured the cars of Bobby Labonte and Dale Jarrett on the cover. It won multiple awards, including GameSpot's Driving Game of the Year award in 1999. It removed the ability to drive in the Truck Series on the game, but featured an additional Craftsman Truck Series expansion, which also allowed players to race in the Truck Series. The graphics made great strides versus the previous versions of the series. Soon after, multiple games were released for various platforms including NASCAR 2000, NASCAR Legends, NASCAR Rumble, and NASCAR 2001. 1 week after NASCAR 2001 was released, Monster Games and Hasbro Interactive released NASCAR Heat for the PlayStation, Game Boy Color, and PC.
Papyrus and Sierra continued their sim racing legacy with NASCAR Racing 4, NASCAR Racing 2002 season, and the ever-popular NASCAR Racing 2003 season. NASCAR Racing 4 was a game changer as it allowed players to race against each other online. The game came out in February of 2001 and included 25 drivers from the 2001 season as well as 42 fictional drivers. For the first time, cars were able to get airborne and flip. NASCAR Racing 2003 season included 39 drivers and 23 tracks, which also allowed you to compete online. The extensive car setup choices added to the realistic features of the game. EA Sports acquired the exclusive rights to NASCAR games in 2004, ending an incredible reign and forcing Papyrus to shut down. The source code and assets were eventually bought and became the base code for iRacing.com, starting the development of their empire. Through the years, players still access the game's server lobby, racing with updated car sets and tracks from various decades of racing. iRacing was initially released in August of 2008. The game is unique compared to the aforementioned games as players can only use the realistic cockpit view in official races. EA Sports continued to release games until they stopped with NASCAR 09. The next few seasons saw multiple developers and producers release games, leading to 704 Games releasing NASCAR Heat 4 in September of 2019, which is available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows.
Through the years, everyone has their favorite memories playing these games, pretending to be their favorite driver, chasing championships, creating paint schemes, and so much more. We hold these near and dear to our hearts. From Richard Petty's Talladega on the pixelated Atari to the current day realistic iRacing product, each game made an incredible impact, helping carry sim racing to a television set near you.